Okay, so now we're going to get started putting our tomatoes. These are our mini tomatoes, and we're going to be putting them in these cups. Now, this is going to be your cheapest option out there, okay? This can be bought at the 99-cent store. You just drill some holes in it like I have and give it a week, and these roots will be all over the place, going through these holes and everything else. They're self-guiding missiles for nutrients and water, okay? This, real simple. You know, get the side of it as well. Make sure you get the side. And do it a lot. You know, you want to be able to have those roots kind of coming through the plastic. That's important. Then when you get it, you're going to take a scissor. What I like to do, because I mean, who cares if you use these after it's done, you just throw them out. I just cut down the center here. So I'm going to be cutting down here, halfway through the back. And then that's going to be able to get you to fold it and dip down really deep into the PVC. Now I like to, depending on what it is, right? You could take one of these rock wools and just do one separate one, but I'm going to be doing two. This is actually a strawberry. You can see that there. This is probably the most exciting thing that I'm looking forward to is the strawberries. But I'm going to take two of these rock wools for our tiny tomatoes. These are our cherry tomatoes, and I'm just going to put them in like that. So I have about 300 or some odd plants, and I don't have enough holes to drop them in. So I'm going to have to double up on some things, and some things you can double up on. You can double up on tiny cherry tomatoes and stuff like that. You can, because, you know, they're going to grow all over the place anyway, and they do pretty well if they're close to each other. But there's some things that you can't put close together, like spinach is one thing that does not like any other plant next to it. So we're going to load these up. And the next phase of this is definitely going to be to talk about our kind of walking apparatus that we have here. You're going to be wondering why it's swinging. I'm going to talk to you about the tomatoes and how important it is to keep the roots working and moving and stuff like that for growth. I've saved you the agonizing pain of watching me do these painstaking holes, drilling them out one by one. This is probably going to take you the longest thing to do over and over and over. So I'm going to do 6 tubes. I'm going to finish that side of that wall that you see inside. And then we should be pretty much ready to go. You know, we can talk about some fun stuff like growing, tomatoes and plants and, individually pollinating and stuff like that. Now, what you're going to find after you notch out these PVC is there's these annoying little plastic strips. The best way to take them off, I find, is with just a razor knife, and just, you get them off one time, and that's it. Otherwise, you don't have to sit there and kind of like taking out one at a time. But you should take them out. It's not like it's going to go in your food or anything like that, because it will be in the roots. The problem is it might clog up the pump. We don't want that. We want that water to be coming up with as much pressure as possible. We don't want anything, clogging it up, maybe burning out, or we don't see that it's clogged until it just kind of craps out. So we don't want that. So do yourself a favor, spend like 30 minutes cleaning all these up. And once you got them good to go, we're going to hang them on the wall and get started for the next phase. I did find a strapping tube that was these strap tapes, which are a lot better, a lot cheaper. It was like $14 for a whole roll. That does 114 of these on the wall. Not that you're going to need all that, maybe you will. Let me clean this up. We'll go inside and get to the next step. I apologize. This might be a little loud here because I got the filter's kind of running right now, and I rolled in the middle of this. But I got to get going because I'm going to be losing some light, and I'm trying to get as much as I can done because I really got to start to put these plants in here so I don't have time to mess around. So these are the brackets I was telling you about. And a whole sheet like this, Home Depot, 14 bucks, a lot better than these two the brackets here. I have the stainless steel ones that is totally crap. I'll never get them again. And these weren't half bad, but they were really expensive. This was overall the best, and I think it's going to serve the greatest purpose here. So let's just test this out. I think that's going to work out. Let's do another one here. Again, I'm fighting the daylight here. Because tomorrow I got to do a lot of stuff with the gardening and finish the piping of this outside of this, get it set up. But I'm excited to finally put all these plants that are dying to go into this stuff. It's just kind of sitting in the bed. So I made these 5 feet. Let me just see if that's a good, I didn't even measure, man. I'm like going quick here. See if that's going to be good. Yeah, that looks good. So the plan was these are just going to sit like this. All right, now you're going to get your level out. Even though we know that the level doesn't always pan out, but we want to get an idea of where we are level though. There. So I need to lower this one just a bit. You can level all you want. I mean, it does make sense to do it, but I can tell you from experience, these PVC pipes got a mind of its own. The border's got a mind of its own. This is not level. All right, we're going to drop this down a little bit. It should do it. Yeah, you can hang on that thing. You can do some pull-ups, get that back going up in this piece. All right, so that's looking good. The plan is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I probably need to go higher. I'm trying to put 6 on this, which I'm really pushing. But I have a lot of plants that got to go on here. Probably germinated way too much. Let me go to high point. Good. Go up higher, a little higher. That's good. Let's see how level I am. See if the eye is any good. Not bad. Not bad. Not bad at all. I would leave it alone. All right, now I'm going to do the next one. I'm coming down, and we're just making these strips here. I mean, you can't feed. I did the calculations. Probably the distance that I'm doing, I could probably get near 100 of these bands, which for $14. I tried using that stainless steel crap over there. It's the worst. The worst. It looks nice though, I gotta tell you. All right, let's go with the next one. We're gonna go right underneath it. Again, nice and sturdy. Not like these things are gonna get really that heavy. You know, it's not like I'm filling them with cement. Another one here. And you kind of get my drift with this, so I'm not going to leave you rolling the whole time. When I'm done with all of it, I'll turn you back on. Thanks. So let's kind of recap everything. As you can see on the wall here, we're finished. So my plan, and I mentioned this, sorry it's a little loud in here. What I mentioned was I wanted to do every wall with the PVC pipe. We got this little area here. I'm going to make a little area one here too, but I'm not going to jump on that just yet. I'm going to finish this by tomorrow. I'm going to put the caps on, put the PVC. This is like probably the biggest pain in the neck is making sure that the threading is in there tight and you don't have any leaks. You always get a little bit of leaks, but this is pretty good. This is almost drip free, this big one. This one's not too bad either. So, I mean, my method is probably the most inexpensive and it's effective. So we can get 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60. We'll get 60 plants on this shelf. And you know what? A lot of people might say, yo, 60 is a lot. Let me tell you something. What do you think's going to happen? Let's say there's a major disaster. And I like to get ahead and I like to think positive, but stuff does happen in the world. If they can't deliver the food, they can't grow the food, something happens. This, I'm telling you, something like this, 12 by 12, 10 by 8, this is going to be able to feed you and your family. And I'm talking about greens and all the vitamin D and K and everything that you need. You can't just live on rice and beans. I know people say, well, I got beans and I got rice. Your body's going to need some kind of nutrition. This is going to be great. When this thing gets rolling, you're going to say, wow, man, I'm doing this tomorrow. And you got to get prepared because I know something's coming and I'm just trying to get prepared, getting ahead of the game. the years I farmed outside with dirt, there's no way that I can get to the level of mass production like this, where I'm stacking hydroponically and, you know, no dirt. You know, I'll teach you about the, you know, fertilization and all that stuff, because you know, we don't have any bugs in here to pollinate the plants. So we'll talk about that as time goes on. But this is it. Tomorrow I'll do the piping, and then we'll go to the next phase of this. And yes, I am going to put a second solar panel with another charger, because I've seen what this thing does. And for 3 days there was no sun. I'm in upstate New York. There was a big storm here. This thing got down to like 12%. So I'm going to put another one in here that I'm going to be absolutely solid. All right, on to the next video. Okay, so I did all the plumbing now for the apparatus here. We got 6 hydroponic stacks, and we're going to fill them up with water and test them. Now, expect a few leaks here and there, but do not seal the piping yet. I always like to run everything, because you'll move stuff around. You'll say, okay, it'll go here, and then you'll decide to move it. So instead of cutting pipe and wasting pipe, don't seal it just yet. Let's fill this up with some water. Let's see where this goes. And we already got a little leak here. That's all right. Push that in. You know, I mean, stuff is loose. You got to tighten it up a bit. But the whole plan is to watch this kind of unravel, go back down into here, and then we can realize exactly where we want to set up the reservoir. Because, as I mentioned, on this wall here, this back wall, where this ladder is, I'm going to also put another stack system here. So I don't want a bunch of stuff in the beginning when you're walking around. So I'd rather have this reservoir here all the way to the corner. And I just have to make an adjustment, because sometimes you have to figure out where these holes are. I'm going to show you this in a minute. Sometimes the holes are up too high, and then you get an influx of water over there. It really depends on how much pressure the water's coming in. So you have to kind of adjust things. Let me show you what I'm talking about. See, this is kind of like, you ask yourself, where should I make the hole on this? And this is a perfect example. So the flow on this is still not right, because this should be a little bit lower. So this is what I'm talking about, having to move things around a bit. Actually, it kind of evened itself out. But you ask yourself, where do you put the hole on this? Sometimes you're going to need to put it up top. Sometimes you're going to need to put it on the bottom. Really depends on the flow of the water and how fast the water comes out. So that's why I say don't seal anything yet. So if we look over here, we're still a little high on this end. And this is level. This is all about the water pressure here. And what I did was I lowered this one here. I kind of put it on a bit of an angle. It really should be maybe here. But let's see how this works out. Now, if we look on the bottom one, this one's coming out okay. This one's going in a little high, right? We're at the high, we're kind of in the middle point here. But it's coming down good here. And let's see how high this one gets, because if it's too high, then we're going to take this and lower it down here. All right, it's just going in. You can see that the point here is high, but not crazy. And now it's starting to come down over here, which is good. Take a look at that. And it should flow through here. So overall, we really don't have many overflows. We're not talking about leaks right now. We're talking about overflows. We want the flow of the water, because that's about the speed of the water of the pump. A little high on this end, but I could live with it. And let's just see how this comes out. This should be coming out there any moment. Okay, good. Coming out there. Okay, so a couple of things I've noticed here. I wasn't too happy with the flow on the other end. It was coming out too much. So what you're going to do is make sure that this, you can see this, the bottom hole is dropped down a little bit more, which is kind of the reason why I don't make all the holes in the middle, because you're always going to need to adjust this. So I'm just going to cut a piece of the pipe here so that we have a, again, I'm just eyeballing this. You're going to turn this around. Okay. All right, now that should make this flow a little bit better. This is, you're testing this in the very beginning. You're just making sure that, you know, everything's where it needs to be. So what was happening was I was getting too much of a buildup here. It was overflowing. So that means I can't have the hole here. I have to have it down here more. It's all about, you could level this all you want. You could do this a million times. Just pumps are different. And the water flow, this is equal to my hose, which is the water pump here. So you have to play around with it, which is why I say don't seal anything yet. Okay, the system is running good now. So what we're going to do is cut the water off. We know that the flow is excellent. We'll wait for it to dry a little bit. We'll run it with the cement glue, cap the ends. I'm not gonna glue the elbows because we're gonna need to put a couple of release valves. I like to put that in, and we're good to go. Looking good. Water's flowing nice. We're good. We're ready for some props soon. Okay, I'm going to show you the greenhouse fully stocked. As I mentioned, we were going to use every inch of this place, and we totally did. We're not done yet because we still got this whole other side to do here. On this side is 60 plants. On the other side is 60 plants. On the side plant, whatever you want to call it, there's 20. There's also 12 heirloom tomatoes, which are down at the bottom here. So that in itself will give us 120, 140, 150, let's say. Plus we got another almost 80 plants that are still in the pods here that we have to move and figure out what we're going to do with it. We're definitely fully stocked. As I mentioned, that space was going to definitely be limited in here. And why not take advantage of all the space? I mean, if you're going to get to a situation where you have to make sure that you and your family are going to eat and you need to create a system like this, you better be using every square inch, because if you can get another head of lettuce here, another head of lettuce there, believe me, you'll be thanking yourself all the way to the dinner table when time comes. But everything is pretty much set on a timer except the large tomato trestles. And what we have to do is exactly what I just said, is trestle it all the way to the top, because tomatoes have a tendency to grow high, and then we're going to trim them, make sure we get nice big tomatoes on it. That pump is probably due to come in, I think, tomorrow. And then we're going to be on timers on everything. So we're on timers on this one. This is the very first one that we did, if you remember. And then this one's on a timer as well. This little one by the window. Now over here, we have some free space. Not for long, because we're going to get started on that next. And then over here, this is the new one that we just put up a couple of days ago. And you can see this has got bib lettuce, we got romaine lettuce down there, we got strawberries, zucchini down at the bottom. It's about to get pretty crazy in here. I mean, it'll get to the point where you can't walk, but the smell already, there's nothing like the smell of a greenhouse. And when you come in here in the morning, especially if there's sun, it's been kind of crappy out here the last 3 days. But man, you get that woof of just a combination of chlorophyll and everything else is really, really good. You know, we're going to be harvesting some of the stuff, you know, in less than 30 days. So 15 days or so, we'll probably have some lettuces that are ready already. What we want is your stock to go right in here, get ready to go. Because as soon as you start to harvest, you're going to need to replenish. You know, this is where this stuff is going to go, right from here, right into your hydroponic system. So you're never going to have a shortage, right? We got some really nice romaine lettuce coming up. We have kale, beautiful kale. We have, this is cauliflower. We have a tomato. We have peas. These things get crazy when they grow, they're wild. We have parsley. I mean, we could just keep going here. This is roasted red pepper. And we got some chives up here, but it's looking good. Overall, I'm pretty happy. This is all my cherry tomatoes here. Cherry tomatoes are great because they grow outward and they grow down. So I'm okay with them growing downward. These need to go all the way up to the ceiling. Overall, I'm pretty excited about the greenhouse. You know, we've done a tremendous amount of hard work here, and I hope that it was easy enough for you to follow along, because that's what I'm really encouraging you to build one of these before there's a disaster, folks, and then you're running around like a lunatic, shopping for stuff on the shelves that aren't there. Okay? Now, I'm far from one of those preppers, and I don't mind every now and again looking at those videos because I think there's a lot of good stuff, but I will tell you there's enough crap going on in the world that makes me wonder, hey, I should be growing my own stuff. And if it's not for a natural disaster, it's for the simple fact is I don't know what these farmers are putting in my food. Even though it's marked organic, there's some stipulations and some loopholes with that as well. But I know what I'm growing in here is 100% organic, okay, from the seed down to the harvest. And we're going to get busy. The next show is going to be about what we're growing, how to grow it fast, how to grow it the most efficient way. We've got a lot of other tips coming up our sleeve. So stay tuned, and thanks for tuning in. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to put them down in the comments section. I'll get to them whenever I can and answer them the best I can. So thanks for watching again.